All right, welcome back. We're going to be looking at something today that, well, let's just say it's not the most glamorous piece of gear. Hiking poles.
Yeah, not exactly the flashiest, are they?
Not really. But we found this great article by Darren
Oh, yeah?
from the OdysseyCamper.com travel blog.
Okay.
And it's called Hiking Poles, Not Just for Old Men.
Hmm.
And he makes a pretty good case for why
Yeah.
why we might want to reconsider overlooking them.
Interesting.
So have you ever used hiking poles?
I've dabbled,
Okay.
but never really committed,
Oh, I get that.
Like Darren, I kind of figured, well, I'm in decent shape. I don't really need them.
Right.
But this seasoned camper van traveler and hiker, Darren, he was in the same boat, skeptical at first.
Okay, so what changed his mind?
Well, what's interesting is that it wasn't just about needing assistance.
Okay.
He found all these unexpected benefits.
Yeah, like what? I got to admit, I'm pretty curious now.
Yeah. Well, think about the strain on your legs, especially going uphill or carrying a pack.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He discovered that poles actually distribute that workload better.
So it's not just taking the pressure off your knees, it's about spreading the effort.
Exactly. Using your upper body more so your arms and core are helping propel you forward, too.
So it's kind of like
Yeah.
I don't know, a full body workout while hiking.
Kind of. And that leads to more endurance and stability.
I can see the stability part, especially for maybe like older hikers.
Yeah, but think about uneven ground, rocky trails, even stream crossings.
Oh, right.
2 extra points of contact make a huge difference for anyone.
Like a wider base.
Exactly. And that stability then lets you hike for longer, keeps a steady pace,
I could see that, yeah. Makes those steep climbs a bit easier.
That's it. Like imagine pushing off with your upper body too, take some of that burn out of your legs.
I'm starting to see the appeal.
And then there's the joint impact. Darren found his knee pain, especially going downhill, was much less after he started using poles.
Okay, now that's something I could definitely get behind.
Right? They help absorb the shock that would usually go straight to your knees.
I tend to be a little rough on my joints, so that's good to know.
Yeah, it's a game changer for a lot of people. And it's not just theory. Darren talks about specific trails where it made a real difference.
Yeah, like where?
Well, for example, at Badlands National Park, he found he could hike longer before getting tired.
Okay.
And then on the Cypress Creek Trail, he
Oh.
was able to keep up with his kids, which,
Oh, I can definitely relate to that.
Right.
But were there any cases where he felt like he absolutely needed the poles? Like they made something possible that wouldn't have been otherwise?
Oh, there's this great story about his hike in Canyonlands.
Okay.
He was trying to get to this amazing viewpoint, but the last part was some pretty rough terrain.
Uh-huh.
And he says it was the poles that gave him the stability and confidence to get there.
Wow, so they really opened up possibilities for him.
Totally. It's like this simple piece of gear actually expanded what he could do.
Huh, I never thought about it like that.
It really challenges how we see them, not just for a specific age group or fitness level.
So for someone like me who's, intrigued but still a little hesitant, what would you recommend? Like, where do I even begin?
Well, Darren actually surprised himself by how affordable his poles were. Started with a budget-friendly pair just to try them out.
Okay, so you don't have to break the bank to get started.
Nope. And he was really happy with how they performed, especially for the price. He even shares the brand and model he uses in his blog.
Oh, that's super helpful. Did he mention anything else to look for?
Yeah, he talks about the adjustable ones being really versatile.
Why is that?
Well, you can change the length, depending on the terrain or if you're going uphill or downhill.
Oh, right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Would want to be stuck with poles that are too long or too short?
Exactly. And Darren's all about the details. He even points out that his have removable caps that reveal metal tips for better grip on tough surfaces.
That's pretty clever, like a hidden feature.
It is. But he also mentions that the wrist straps on his, since they were the budget-friendly ones,
Yeah.
can get a little uncomfortable on long hikes.
Oh, so there are some trade-offs.
There are, but he's upfront about it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, helps manage expectations.
Right. And it shows that, doing a little research is always a good idea.
So it's not just about grabbing the first pair you see. There's actually some thought that goes into it.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's learning how to actually use them.
I was just thinking about that. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, Darren says he was a bit unsure at first, too.
Mm-hmm.
But he found it became pretty natural, like an extension of your arms just swinging along with your stride.
Okay, that doesn't sound too difficult.
Not at all. He even suggests watching some YouTube videos if you want visual guidance. Just search for used trekking poles.
Great tip. YouTube really does have everything.
It does. And it seems like once you get the hang of it, it just becomes part of your flow. Darren even jokes about it being like Rocky's training montage, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
It just shows that it can be fun to learn something new, even if it seems simple.
And it all goes back to that idea of making your hike more enjoyable.
Right. Not just about practicality, but actually adding to the experience.
I'm really starting to see hiking poles in a whole new light now.
Yeah.
That's like, I never considered them before, but now I'm kind of excited to try them out.
That's great. I have a feeling you won't regret it.
Before we move on, just a reminder to our listeners that they can find photos and details for this episode at odysseycamper.com or on the YouTube channel, Odyssey Camper.
Definitely check out Darren's blog. Lots of great stuff there.
Yeah, a wealth of information for anyone who loves the outdoors. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something related.
Okay.
Something that ties into this idea of enhancing your hiking experience.
Right.
And really maximizing your enjoyment on the trail.
Sounds good to me. I'm listening.
So let's talk about...
It's like Darren's whole experience with the hiking poles, you know? It's part of this bigger thing happening in the outdoors. Like,
What do you mean?
people are realizing that gear, it's not just about performance anymore.
Right.
It's also about staying safe, preventing injuries.
I see what you mean. It's like you don't have to choose between pushing yourself and protecting yourself.
That's it.
It's both.
You can have both.
Yeah.
And it's not just hiking. It's trail running, skiing, backpacking, you name it.
So it's like a shift in how we think about gear.
Exactly. The right stuff can really change your whole experience out there.
And it's not always the expensive, fancy gear either.
No, not at all. Sometimes it's those little things that make a big difference, like
Yeah, like what?
those removable caps on Darren's poles, remember?
Oh, yeah, with the metal tips.
Right. Small detail, but super useful.
It's funny, I never would have thought about that before.
It's easy to miss those things until someone points them out.
It makes you realize how much thought goes into good gear design.
It does. And that's what I like about Darren. He's willing to experiment, try different things.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to admit when he's wrong or when something doesn't work.
That's so important, right?
Yeah.
To be open to learning and adapting.
Totally.
It makes his blog so relatable and authentic.
Exactly. He's just sharing his honest experience, the good and the bad.
And that's what we try to do here, right?
Absolutely.
Give people real, actionable information that they can use.
Right. Empower them to make their own decisions about gear and their adventures.
Because sometimes it means being open to trying something new, like Darren with the hiking poles.
Oh, you know what else he mentioned?
What?
He kind of wishes he'd gotten the silver poles instead of the black ones.
Why is that?
He said the black ones get really hot in the sun, when you set them down.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
It's a small thing,
Yeah.
but it can make a big difference on a hot day.
Yeah, for sure. It's those little details that can really affect your comfort.
Totally. Just another example of how there's always something new to learn about gear.
It's like you got to pay attention to the nuances.
That's it. What works for one person might not work for another, so it's all about finding what suits you best.
This whole conversation has definitely got me thinking,
Yeah.
like, what other gear surprises are out there?
Good question.
What about our listeners? Have they discovered any unexpected pieces of gear that have really made a difference for them?
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Let us know on the website or social media.
Always great to get those insights from the community.
And in the meantime,
Yeah.
I guess the takeaway is keep experimenting, keep learning.
Keep those poles handy.
You never know where they might lead you.
That's the spirit. All right, well, I think that's a good place to
wrap up this segment.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll be back soon with more.
More outdoor adventures.
More insights and discoveries from the world of outdoor adventure.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it. How much hiking poles have changed over the years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, we're not just talking about a stick you pick up off the ground anymore.
Nope, not at all. Lightweight materials, ergonomic grips, you can adjust the length.
Wow.
Some even have shock absorption now.
Huh. It's a whole science.
It really is.
So there's actually a lot to consider when you're choosing a pair.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to understanding, like, biomechanics.
Oh, interesting.
How our bodies move,
Mhm.
The design is all about helping us move better on the trail.
So they really are an extension of your body.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Helping you be more efficient, more confident on any terrain.
It's like having an extra set of legs, but better.
Kind of. And that's why the fit is so important, too.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You want them to feel comfortable, like a natural part of you.
Right, not like some clunky thing you're dragging around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, think about hiking boots.
Oh, yeah. You don't want those to be a distraction either.
No way. Gotta have good support for your feet.
Right. So with hiking poles, it's the same idea. finding the right fit for you.
Makes sense. So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I'm ready to try these out,
Yeah.
what are the key things to keep in mind when they're choosing a pair?
All right, well, first of all, think about your budget.
Okay.
Like Darren said, you can find some really good quality poles without spending a ton of money.
That's good to know. I was worried it would be a huge investment.
Nah, there are plenty of affordable options out there.
Okay, good. But I guess if you're going to be using them a lot
Yeah.
or like on more challenging hikes.
Right, then maybe investing in a higher-end pair could be worth it.
Gotcha. So budget's one thing. What else?
Adjustable poles are really great.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can change the length.
Is that helpful?
Well, it lets you adapt to different terrain, going uphill, downhill,
Oh, so you can fine-tune them for each situation.
Exactly, like having different tools in one.
That's really smart. What about the grips? Are there different types?
Yeah, definitely. You want something that's comfortable even when your hands get sweaty.
Uh-huh.
Some are cork, which molds to your hand over time. Others are rubber or foam.
So it's kind of a personal preference thing?
It is. And remember, those little details can make a difference, like the removable caps.
Oh, yeah, Darren's trick for extra traction.
Right. So take your time, do some research, and don't be afraid to ask questions at the store.
Good advice.
Yeah.
So once you've found the perfect pair, then what?
Well, don't worry too much about the learning curve.
Okay.
Darren said it's pretty intuitive.
Okay.
Just let the poles swing naturally with your stride.
Yeah.
Like an extension of your arms.
Gotcha. And if we need some visual help, there's always YouTube.
Good old YouTube. You can learn just about anything there.
Become a hiking pole pro in no time.
Exactly. So there's no reason not to try it out.
Especially with all the potential benefits.
Stability, less stress on your joints. You can hike longer, feel more confident.
It's like a secret weapon for hikers.
It kind of is. Who knows? Maybe it'll open up new trails for you.
Maybe even help us reach new heights.
Now you're talking.
And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover that this simple piece of gear completely changes how you experience the trail.
Wouldn't that be something?
It makes me think about all the other, maybe unexpected pieces of gear that could do the same thing.
Something to think about.
It's all about keeping an open mind. Right?
Absolutely. Being willing to try new things.
And embrace the possibilities.
That's what adventure is all about.
Well said. So until next time, everyone, keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep those hiking poles swinging.
Happy hiking!